They're often very good at swallowing this wholesale. So very often, with conventional citizens, if once you start revealing a gap between the official version and what you think is really going on, you're pointing this issue out, they can be quite shocked, they can be quite disturbed. They can say you are subversive, that you're trying to disturb the government, you know, or spoil the legitimacy, the ideology and the respectful explanation of what's really going on. You know, what Parliament really for? What is it there? What does it do? What, is it this version or is it this? Now, let's take a few examples you know, little parts of our real world. Earlier, somebody suggested the fly on the minibus, you know, or the typical, what is really happening at a hospital, you know, there's another kind of worms. You know, what about the school? You know, as a former school teacher, myself, you know, I spent 5 years at the chalk face as a young man, and 10 years at the university. There's a big gap, I think, in the school between what is actually going on that we know as pupils. Maybe Simon, I dare say a lot of your humour at the school was probably at the expense of the headmaster, you know. You might have been exposing the difference between the headmaster's explanation of what the school was for, what he was doing, and what was actually going on in the place. What is the official explanation of the school? You know, the Ministry of Education says we all start off, you know, ignorant, and we need knowledge and skills. We acquire knowledge and skills, which is an investment for us, it's an investment for our country, and then we go out with our certificate and we get a job, or if we need, funnily enough, they choose the most clever who can do better to give them a further education, and those who are least good, they tip them out to the outside world and say, now get a job, you can't have any more. But that's the general explanation of what goes on school. They're working all for our benefit, you know. Now, what are some of the things that actually happen in the school? Some of the things are that perhaps 90% of the people that come into the school can't get a job at all. 5% go to university, 5% get employed, and the other 90% are unemployed. They've been told for 12 years they will get the skills to get a job, and they can't. You know? In fact, for a lot of people, and they think it happens to other people, not themselves, have heard about this, but this big issue of unemployed school leavers, you know, can be found here. And in real life stories, you know, now in a magazine you can reduce this to individual stories or situations or such things. I'll tell you another thing that goes on in the school. It's supposed to be teaching you out of books. You go in there aren't any books in the school. Well, when I started teaching secondary school, every pupil had his own textbook given to him by the school, by the government. Each pupil had their geography textbook, their maths textbook, their history textbook given to them by the school, and there was a library full of books. What have we got now? We've got schools without libraries, or otherwise libraries without books. We've got no textbooks given to them. They can't buy the textbook. The teacher has the one textbook, and half the time he doesn't pitch up to class. That's at the flip side of what's going on. So how many stories are there in that? I mean, if you start looking, it's staring us in the face everywhere, actually. I mean, you could say, I don't think it's having a good whole thesis, I mean, kissing everybody else is going to contradict me, but one whole perspective on a whole, maybe not the whole magazine, but a whole line of what we might be doing from the satirical side, is to expose the gap between the apologia, the defence of power, and the critique in satirical form of how we criticise it, and where the issues are, because every time there's a gap between here and here, there's an issue. Another about schools. Well, you people can tell me actually more than I know. Except you may have accepted the official story tonight. You know, if you haven't got a textbook, and the teacher's not there most of the time, and the other pupils are not there most of the time, how on earth do you prepare for the exam? Huh? I mean, you're faced at the end of Form 5 with a chemistry exam. You've never had a chemistry textbook. The school hasn't got a lab. The teacher's not there most of the time. How are you going to pass the exam?
You buy everything.
What?
You buy the results.
Yeah, you buy the paper beforehand, of course. Your only hope of passing this paper, I mean, be realistic. The only hope of passing that paper is to see it beforehand. You cheat.
But if you don't have money, how can you buy?
Well, you get all the passes first.
Chirufia seems to know a lot about this.
I mean, that's the wide range of thinking about things.
That's the flip side.
And always, actually, always in schools, there's two things. There's the official curriculum and there's cheating, you know. At university too, you get an essay from somebody else and you copy it. There's a whole problem sheet, you can't do the problem. You go to somebody else who's your friend with, or you bought a beer from, and he'll give you the answer to the problem. You can even send somebody else into the exam.
Yes.
Or you can seduce the lecturer, or whatever it takes. And now, what do you... This is actually more serious. What are schools actually teaching us to do in Zambia? They're actually teaching us how to cheat. There's a whole subculture. There's the official culture of the school, and there's a subculture of the school. And all of this is about getting your certificate, despite everything. And if you're not naturally brilliant, it involves a lot of teaching. So there's a big issue in schools about cheating. And it's actually part of our normal life. And we've got now, not only the pupils are cheating, the pupils are cheating, the teaching is turned around, the syllables have turned around so that
The cheating is teaching.
And even the examination council has got people in it who let the papers out and so on. So the whole institutional level, you know, which is defending the Bible, there's another thing going on, and so on in schools. Schools are supposed to, schools will tell you that they teach you to think for yourself, to become independent, to become imaginative, entrepreneurial, or whatever it is. Is it true? I mean, my experience, looking back on my school experience, I was a bright little imaginative chap at the age of 5, and when I came out at the end of secondary school, at the age of 18, I'd had all that imagination knocked out of me. You probably are
Victims.
delinquents. You are probably, despite the school system, you know, you're sort of people who are writing funny stories about the headmaster, disrupting the class, not doing the proper work, and you maintain your imagination, and you maintain your independence, and you maintain your defiance, despite the school. Because the purpose of the school, let's face it, is to get you to do as you're told. You come in as a little savage with your own ideas, your own imagination, and you come out as somebody's supposed to say, yes sir, no sir, the headmaster said, huh? So, this is supposed to make law-abiding citizens, you know, do their democratic and citizens' part, but the flip side is, you know, that they are very oppressive institutions. In fact, nowadays, I'll tell you another actual reason for school. Another reason for school is, up here, there's a lot of people, parents have to go out to work, and they wouldn't be able to go out to work in their offices and factories if they had to look after children as well. So they send their children to be looked after in schools, which are custodial institutions, you know. Prisons are for looking after criminals. Hospitals are custodial institutions for looking after sick people, such as Mr. Punda, who's a sick person even when he's not in hospital.
He's dead, is he not?
And schools are custodial institutions for keeping little children off the street and out of the bars and out of the brothels and put them in a safe place where they don't get killed, and then so that parents can come and pick them up again at 5 o'clock when they've earned the money to feed their children. So primarily, I think the function, I would say, the official reason for a school is educational. But probably the flip side reason for the school is custodial, to keep the children off the street and out of the way while the parents go away and do some work. Now, this is just some initial thoughts of a satirical view of the world, because if you want to be the fly on the wall, the thing is to see what is the flip